Did that? Oh.
Live from Eldridge Park in Orleans, Massachusetts, this is Orleans Firebirds Baseball on the air. Good evening, everybody. It's Brendan King reporting, alongside my broadcast partner Logan Raddick, our sideline reporter Hannah Hartman, here to bring you all the action of Game 2 between the YD Red Sox and the Orleans Firebirds of the East Division semifinals. YD Red Sox own a 1-0 lead over the Orleans Firebirds already in the series after picking up a big win at Red Wilson Field yesterday in Yarmouth by a score of 4-2. And Logan, tonight, it's all about the response and what we see from the Orleans Firebirds, as this is a must-win, as it's an elimination game.
Yep, it's win or go home for the Firebirds, so they need to show some signs of urgency and some signs of life tonight. And if that's not the case, then they're not going to be playing any more baseball this summer. Last night, the Firebirds only managed 5 hits against YD, committed 3 errors in the field. So the Birds just need to play a cleaner brand of baseball, get better in the field, don't make silly mistakes like overrunning a ball in center field, or just being a little bit more careful on defense. But the other thing too is they need to string together some hits in an inning. Yesterday, the only time that they had 2 hits in an inning was the 4th, and they failed to score in that frame. So Firebirds just need to be more efficient on offense, and I think if that happens, the defense is better. You know what you're going to get with the pitching, so I think that's the key for the Birds. And with the wind blowing in tonight, they cannot rely on a slugfest.
A great crowd on hand here at Eldridge Park, and a pitching decision tonight by Kelly Nicholson to throw John O'Reilly, the long reliever in the Birds bullpen. But we thought we were going to see Joe Ryan today. We did not see him on the scorecard. And it's going to be John. And last time we saw John O'Reilly was in Wareham. He went 3 solid innings of relief and really gave the Birds a chance to win that ball game. But O'Reilly starting possibly what could be the biggest game of his career tonight.
Yeah, John O'Reilly, you got to like the way he looked last time out against Wareham. Actually came on for Joe Ryan in that game, went 3 2/3, just gave up 2 hits and no runs. But John O'Reilly is a guy that's a gamer. He's one of the more rested arms on the team, having bounced back between the bullpen and the rotation. And the thing with John O'Reilly, too, is he wants to win a Cape Cod League championship, and that's what you need. You need a guy on the mound who just really wants to win and is going to put everything on the line despite, an important college season coming up. But John O'Reilly's a guy who came on as a temp, played really well, and a guy that just wants to finish what the Firebirds have started this year. A really good team, and there's still a chance that they can win this series. They just have to win tonight, or else, there's no other option.
For you, what's the biggest thing going into this ball game that the Birds need to do to win this ball game?
Play good defense. That's the biggest thing. The Firebirds, 60 errors if you combine their regular season total of 57 with the 3 last night, but at the same time, just timely hitting and hitting with men on. And the biggest thing, jumping out to me last night, the Firebirds, they had 1 inning when they had 2 base runners, and that has to change. If you're going to beat a team like YD that has won back-to-back Cape Cod championships, you really have to be playing your best baseball.
Well, we'll see what the Birds can do. They're down 1-0 in the series, but they're ready to come out with a big game today, hopefully in front of their fans at Eldridge Park. We're almost ready for game time. Well, first pitch at 7 o'clock, but we'll be right back with the national anthem, the lineups, and that first pitch. You're listening to Firebirds Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. we are set for baseball here from Eldridge Park as the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox and the Orleans Firebirds continue their playoff series of the East Division semifinals. And for the Birds, this is a must-win, or else they go home. It's an elimination game, and they'll hope to put their best effort forward today. So for the visiting YD Red Sox, let's introduce their starting lineup written out by manager Scott Pickler. Leading off and playing left field, number 5, J.J. Muno from UC Santa Barbara. Batting second and playing second base, number 19, Dylan Persinger from Cal State Fullerton. Batting third and playing shortstop, number 4, Kevin Smith from Maryland, who homered in the ball game yesterday. Batting fourth and playing third base, number 10, Will Toffee from Vanderbilt. Batting fifth and playing first base, number 29, Brendan Skidmore from Binghamton. Batting sixth and DHing, number 30, Matt Winokur from Stanford. Batting seventh and playing right field, number 27, Tyler Houston out of Butler. Batting eighth and playing center field, number 2, Nolan Brown from TCU. And batting ninth and catching, number 8, Joey Thomas from Cincinnati.
On the mound for the Firebirds here in Game 2 is the 6'5" right-hander John O'Reilly from Northvale, New Jersey. Pitches at Rutgers, and O'Reilly is 1-1 with a 2.84 ERA. He's made 11 appearances, 2 starts, 25 1/3 innings of work, and he has struck out 11 and walked 10 batters. Only allowed 22 hits in those 25 innings.
Has to be an interesting start for John O'Reilly, who takes the mound in what could be his biggest start of his career. O'Reilly has seen a little bit of time this year with the rotation, but has primarily been out of the bullpen. And for O'Reilly, he's just trying to get his team some solid innings to give them a chance to win this ball game, because we know how good YD is in the playoffs. So we're ready for baseball here at Eldridge Park. It's a beautiful night. Clouds in the sky. It was overcast a little earlier, but they've since broken up. Glad to have you with us for Firebirds Baseball. I'm Brennan King alongside Logan Reddick, and John O'Reilly is ready to deal. O'Reilly, the right-hander, wears number 30 out of Rutgers, and the wind-up, the pitch, and J.J. Muno swinging at the first pitch, grounds it to the second baseman Ethan Paul. He'll throw out Muno to start the ball game. 1 pitch, 1 out for the Orleans Firebirds.
Just the start that John O'Reilly wanted there, but let's meet the umpires tonight. 4, since we're in the postseason. Behind home plate, Joseph Caraco. At first base, Will Bowers. Second base umpires, John Leeds, with Billy McCullum at third.
Defense today behind John O'Reilly from left field to right field. It's Mahan, Miller, and Hazley from third to first. Benj, Jones, Paul, and Golson, and Riley Adams does the catching for John O'Reilly. Big guy, 6'5". First pitch is a fastball to Dylan Persinger. Out of Cal State Fullerton, one of the Titans. He's a teammate with Scotty Hurst, outfielder for the Orleans Firebirds. Persinger has been the everyday second baseman for this YD team. Off-speed pitch stays too high from O'Reilly.
The Red Sox flipped Muno and Persinger in the order. Yesterday, Persinger batted leadoff, was 2 for 4, and Muno was 1 for 4 out of the 2 hole, so Persinger's now batting second today.
1-1. Off-speed pitch from O'Reilly's at the knees, strike 2, and that's what O'Reilly needs to do tonight. Cannot leave too many fastballs across the heart of the plate. We know he's got good stuff, especially with the off-speed, but he's got to really mix it against this YD team.
As mentioned earlier, the YD Red Sox back-to-back defending champions and a great roster. You can't take any at bat too lightly.
1-2, swing and a miss by Persinger on the slider, and John O'Reilly's off to a great start. Has only needed 5 pitches to get the first 2 outs.
Yep, and that's what you want if you're Kelly Nicholson. You want your pitcher to work effectively, and you want him to work efficiently. It'd be really big if Kelly could get 5 innings at least out of O'Reilly.
Birds putting all chips on the table tonight, just trying to get a win and force a Game 3, and if it is necessary, it'd be at YD tomorrow at 4. O'Reilly deals a fastball to Kevin Smith, ball 1, and Kevin Smith has really taken over as the most dangerous hitter in this lineup. He might not be a big guy at the plate, but he sure has a lot of power. And we'll tell you why. 1-0. Swing and a miss. Great changeup from O'Reilly, but Kevin Smith earlier this year at Eldridge Park hit one to center field 434 feet away from the home plate. Didn't hit it over the fence, but it hit the fence. And that's a tough task for anybody. And he just crushed a home run off his other counterpart, Kevin Smith, yesterday for the Firebirds. 2-1.
Yep, Kevin Smith has shown a lot of folks why he was a well-deserved all-star for the East at shortstop, and he continues his hot hitting here in the playoffs.
Smith out of Maryland has caught the attention of a lot of scouts as he'll hit one foul next to the third base dugout. 2-2.
I think if you're the Maryland Terrapins, you have to be thrilled at what Kevin Smith did for YD and what his middle infield partner Nick Dunn did for the Brewster Whitecaps. Both guys hit over 300 on the season, just made tremendous strides, and Maryland's shaping up to have a good season in the Big Ten.
The 2-2 from O'Reilly. Smith pops one up, then we'll get past the protective netting in front of us. A couple kids after that one, and a good crowd on the hill tonight for the Orleans Firebirds. It's a Saturday night in Orleans, and a lot of folks thought it possibly could have rained by now, as there's still a little rain in the forecast, but not too much of a chance to rain. 2-2, still on Smith. The pitch, off speed, stays high. Firebirds coming out in their home white uniforms. They also wore them on the road yesterday, but they will be their home uniforms. The vest white jerseys with the red undershirts, white pants, red belts, white hats with the red brims. 3-2. Pitch to Smith. It's one foul again. He stays strong and has forced O'Reilly to throw a lot of pitches in this at-bat, making O'Reilly work as Smith, the 3-hitter, playing shortstop today.
Yeah, this at-bat's already longer than it took O'Reilly to retire the first 2 batters.
YD in their away red jersey. It says YD on the left chest area. As Smith will pop one foul again, still 3-2. Blue numbers on the back, white pants.
I see that our groundskeeper Mouse is back. I wonder if he was able to clean off the shattered glass from Ethan Paul's foul ball on the regular season finale.
That was interesting. If you missed that, that's something you will not see every day. A light getting broken by a foul ball. Pitch to Smith. He pounds one to center. Coming in is Brian Miller, and he makes the catch. 1-2-3 go the YD Red Sox. A good start for John O'Reilly in a game that the Birds must win to survive in the playoffs. It's YD nothing, and the Birds coming up to the bottom of the first we go. You're listening to Firebirds Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Welcome back to Eldridge Park in Orleans, Massachusetts. I'm Brennan King alongside Logan Raddick. Bottom of the first here as the YD Red Sox go 1-2-3 in their first opportunity against John O'Reilly. And the Birds will come to the plate. So let's introduce the starting lineups written out this morning by manager Kelly Nicholson. Leading off and playing center field, number 5, Brian Miller from North Carolina. Batting second and playing second base, number 33, Ethan Paul from Vanderbilt. Batting third and playing left field, number 11, Riley Mahan from Kentucky. Batting fourth and catching, number 10, Riley Adams from San Diego. Batting fifth and playing third base, number 31, Garrett Benj from Oklahoma State. Batting sixth and playing right field, number 26, Adam Hazley from Virginia. Batting seventh and playing shortstop, number 9, Justin Jones from Georgia State. Batting eighth and DHing, number 32, Keegan McGovern from Georgia. And batting ninth and playing first base, number 8, Will Golson from Ole Miss.
And on the mound for the YD Red Sox is the right-hander out of TCU, Jared Janzik, who is 0-1 with a 3.71 ERA. He's made 5 appearances, 3 starts, 17 innings of work, 11 strikeouts, so just 3 walks. And we saw Janzik earlier in the season. I'll find the numbers from that outing in just a second.
As Logan mentioned, Janzik, the TCU Horned Frog, right-hander, and the Birds will get an interesting opportunity tonight as they really attack the right-hander. Yesterday they faced Oliver Jaski, the big 6'5 left-hander from Michigan, who went 7 innings against the Birds. As first pitch to Brian Miller's way outside to start the Birds' first inning here, 1-0.
Turns out they haven't faced Janzik.
Well, we've seen so many YD pitchers this year, as Scott Pickler has kind of reloaded his roster as he usually does in the postseason. 1-0 on Brian Miller. Outside again. Miller went 1 for 4 in the ball game yesterday, but is back on top of the Birds lineup in the leadoff hole where he's been pretty much 95% of this year. So dangerous in that leadoff hole is Miller. 2-0. Miller grounds one foul past the first base dugout to First base coach Chris Constantine.
Brian Miller, just an incredible season. 327, 1 homer, and 21 RBIs. 15 steals as well. He was third in the Cape League in stolen bases, second in hits with 55, just 4 behind Ernie Clement, who won MVP.
2-1, swing and a miss by Miller. Pitch outside from Janzik, but not to mention Brian Miller extended his hit streak to 22 games yesterday.
Just one of the best pure hitters in the league, bar none.
And for a leadoff guy, Miller is going to be a name to watch in the draft, as he'll ground one softly to the pitcher Janzik, who is off the mound to his left covering. And he'll just take it to first himself to beat out Miller to the bag, 1 down.
So that's a rare 1 unassisted right there. Don't see that too often. Usually the pitcher will toss to the first baseman, but Janzik's showing off that as athleticism, and I think it was fun for him because you got to have a race with one of the fastest guys in the CCBL.
Yeah, some pitchers want nothing to do with running to first base, and others like to be an athlete and take it themselves. Just depends on their personality. If you're Bartolo Colon, you're probably flipping. As first pitch to Ethan Paul is grounded to the shortstop Kevin Smith. He'll field, toss to first for the second out of the inning.
You know, Brendan, we were taking some grounders out there earlier in the day, and the infield just in phenomenal shape. Have to give another shout out again to our groundskeeper Mouse and the coaching staff, whether it's Jamie Quinn, Chris Constantine, Mark Hallberg, Benny Craig. All of those guys do a great job at keeping this field in tip-top shape, and that's why it's one of the best places to play in the league. Yeah,
Chris Constantine was out at about 1:30 when we at Eldridge Park when we were taking grounders, and he ended up mowing the infield. Constantine, probably one of the strongest guys I've ever met in my entire life. The coach at the U.S. Naval Academy. First pitch to Riley Adams Riley Mahan is high. Riley Adams is on deck. 1-0. Still 45. What are we? 46 games in now. 45.
And that's still
it's still
tough.
confusing.
It's tough when they bat right after each other.
1-0 on Mahan. He'll fish for one there and shoot it over Route 28.
Because believe me, I mean, we know who these two guys are by this point in the year. It's just they bat right after each other. They have 1 number difference. You know, Mahan's 11 and Riley Adams is 10. So if you look quickly, but we'll get it.
1-1 down low. So Benny Craig, who talked to Hannah Hartman before the ball game, he used a word that really stood out: aggressiveness. It's all about how the Birds approach each and every at bat. You cannot wait for a YD pitcher to give you something. You have to be aggressive at the plate. You have to take what they give you. And that's what Benny Craig's all about. Is Riley Adams chops one through the middle. That's a base hit for Riley Mahan, and the Birds' first hit of the ball game.
Riley Mahan, he was on a bit of a slump towards the end of the regular season, but his bat is starting to pick up again. Yesterday, Mahan collected a hit, actually 2 hits in the ball game, a double and a single at YD, scored a run, and he finished out the regular season strong against Chatham. So it's good to have Mahan's bat hot at the top of the order.
Riley Mahan started the year at the 2-hole and moved to the 3-hole after Zach Kirtley arrived, but really owned that 3-hole for a long while, as Janzik will check on Mahan. But nonetheless, he's back in the 3-hole, starting to get hot again. And for a lot of these hitters, they're getting hot at exactly the right time, like the guy on deck, Garrett Bench. Here's Riley Adams. Adams checks his swing. It's a strike anyway. 0-1.
Adams led the Orleans Firebirds at batting average at .333 during the regular season, 1 home run and 9 RBIs.
Riley was up in the 370s for a while as well. Was really seeing the ball well in July. 0-1. Pitch from Janzik's in the dirt. Adams checks his swing again. He'll appeal at first. He'll just say, did he go around? Calling it 0-2 on the board. But
yeah, he went around.
Okay.
The home plate umpire actually made the call.
I was looking at over at first base umpire Will Bowers for the call.
You would think with the extra umpire
they would appeal. Nonetheless, 0-2 on Adams. Birds looking to get off to an early lead. They were not able to do yesterday. Pitch to Adams on the outside corner. Just misses from Janzik. Really good location on that fastball.
And Riley was lucky that ball was called the ball, because a little bit too close for comfort to be looking at that pitch.
Janzik from the stretch. He's ready, and the 1-2 to Adams. He'll wait on a breaking ball and send it foul next to Nauset Middle School. Defense today behind Janzik from left field to right field. It's Muno, Brown, and Tyler Houston. From third to first, it's Toffee, Smith, Persinger, and Skidmore. And Thomas does the catching for Janzik. And again, Joey Thomas is just in his 7th game as a member of the YD Red Sox, so he's getting to know this pitching staff really quick. 1-2, Mahan goes, and Riley Adams perfectly puts it through the hole between second and first. On his way to third is Mahan. He's going to be in safe, a hit and run to perfection by the Orleans Firebirds. First and third, 2 outs for Garrett Bench.
And Riley Adams might be the best guy to hit and run with. Not only does he put the ball in play, but he puts the ball to all fields, and honestly, the perfect swing for that situation. Mahan's breaking for second. The second baseman, Persinger, goes to the bag to cover, which opens up the entire hole on the right side, and Riley Adams takes advantage with a hit and run.
Now it's Garrett Bench. Perfectly done by Riley Adams. Can always count on him, your cleanup hitter. Bench has been one of the hottest hitters in this lineup as he'll take a breaking ball inside. He ended the year at .321, and considering when early on in his CCBL season, he got here in mid-July. He started in the 100s and then just got really scorching hot. Got up in the 300s. 1-0, pitch from Janzik's outside. Second base is open. But on deck is Adam Hazley in the 6-hole today. That's something new we're seeing. But to have Hazley in the 6-hole, that's a very valuable weapon.
It is, but I personally would like to see Hazley a little bit higher in the order, but you know, if Bench can get a hit here, then I like the way that the lineup shapes up, because if you get Adams and Mahan on base a lot, it sets the tone for the middle of the order.
A pickoff move from third to first. Again, I say it whenever I see it. That's a balk in the major leagues. Can't do that anymore. But in the college game, it's legal. Adams was safe at first, and 2-0 on Bench. Pitch from Janzik. Bench drives one to right. Going back is Tyler Houston. He'll hit the wall. Coming home is Riley Mahan. Going to third is Riley Adams. Garrett Bench has a 2-out double, and the Birds take the lead 1-0.
And there we go. That was my X factor for the playoffs. Garrett Bench came into the postseason swinging a hot bat, and he's played a lot of baseball this year. Helped get the Oklahoma State Cowboys to the Final Four in the College World Series, but with his bat hot, that really, really just does wonders for the Firebirds, because now you got the run in. You have 2 men in scoring position, and this is where it really looks like a smart decision for Kelly Nicholson to bat Hazley's 6th.
And this is what we just talked about, and what you mentioned. Bench just drove one to the right, still looking for that first home run of the year, but again, Bench comes in the clutch. No shot for Tyler Houston to get over there, and scores Riley Mahan. This is the first lead the Birds have had in this series. 2 outs for Adam Hazley. Pitch from Janzik's outside. So the Birds finally getting to YD pitching, as the Birds were 1-5 against YD in the regular season, and we saw Brian Salmons a lot. We saw Oliver Jaski a lot. Saw Will Montgomery a lot. Janzik's the new face, and has not faced the Birds yet, and Orleans is getting to him early. Big first inning for the Birds. Pitch to Hazley is lined down the third base line past Benny Craig, but foul ball, 1-1.
The RBI, the run is great and all, but the Firebirds have just been really struggling with runners on base or hitting with 2 outs. And if Hazley could deliver here, that would be huge. The Firebirds really need to get out to that early 3-0 lead if possible.
Janzik working from the lineup, grounded right back to him. It goes off his foot, and he'll flip to first base for the 3rd out of the inning. But nonetheless, the Birds strike first this time. They have the 1-0 lead off a Garrett Bench double that scored Riley Mahan. 1-0 Birds. To the top of the 2nd we go. You're listening to Firebirds Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Big. Yeah, just keep it running. Yep. Let's go. We're winning. Yeah. welcome back to Eldridge Park. I'm Brendan King, joined alongside Hannah Hartman. And Hannah, you talked to Benny Craig before today's ball game, and he put out one word that the Birds need to remember tonight: aggressiveness. And they take the 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first. I think they heard him.
I think that's exactly what we saw. 2 hard hit balls, not laying back. They're swinging through these balls. They're not sitting back, getting behind in counts, and they're doing what Benny Craig said, and that's aggressive. Granted, it's been 1 inning, but I like this start a lot more than I liked the start last night.
So John O'Reilly still on the mound. He'll face the leadoff hitter and Will Toffee out of Vanderbilt. Well, Toffee has been another mainstay in this YD lineup this year. He's finished the regular season at 283 as a teammate of Chandler Days and Ethan Pauls. 0-1 to him, and John O'Reilly looks really sharp tonight. Toffee pops one up on the Route 28. But we knew this was a big start coming into this game, Hannah, for John O'Reilly. And so far, he had a really good first inning, and hopefully confidence is key for him. He can work from that.
Yeah, and O'Reilly's really come along here in the second half of the season. We saw him at Wareham a couple nights.
As pitch from O'Reilly, it stays high.
Yeah, we saw him at Wareham a couple nights ago, and he just looked dominant out there. No one could hit his stuff. He was commanding his pitches well, and hoping that can carry on into tonight.
1-2. Pitch to Toffee, stays high again on an off-speed pitch. So far, O'Reilly has kept a couple of those change-ups high. Luckily, YD hasn't been able to do anything with them. 2-2. O'Reilly from the windup. Change up and driving it to right is Toffee, but that'll go way foul onto the hill.
Something I like about O'Reilly is just his overall mentality. He's a winner. He wants to go in there and deliver his best stuff every night, and that's the type of guy you want on the mound for a playoff game.
And plus, O'Reilly's been a bullpen guy for a long time, so for him to step in this situation, 2-2, curveball, deep to right center by Toffee, going back is Miller. It's gone into the Firebirds bullpen. Will Toffee has tied the game on a solo home run off a curveball from John O'Reilly right in the strike zone. We're tied at 1 in the top of the second.
He just got a big piece of that bat. You saw Miller and Hazley, and they didn't even go after that. That was a no-doubter out of the park, and we got to see how O'Reilly responds right now. As you said, coming out of the bullpen, it's tough, but I'm still sticking with O'Reilly. He's got a good head on his shoulders, good mentality.
Well, O'Reilly, that's the first curveball he's really left across the heart of the plate. And don't think he's going to do that again. But it's all about location against this YD team that can make you pay if you make a mistake. As here's Brendan Skidmore, another Birds killer this year. Seen a lot of Skidmore as he finished this year at 253 with 3 home runs and 23 RBIs. 0-1. Pitch from O'Reilly, fastball, low and outside. But again, that happening with 0 outs. O'Reilly's got to get 3 now, and hopefully that does not ruin his mojo on the mound.
Something else, it's extremely windy here. The wind is coming in over from left field, so that ball, if it wasn't windy.
1-1, chop to the shortstop, Justin Jones. He charges, takes a hop, throws to first for the first out of the inning.
If that wasn't windy, Brian, that could have easily gone to Brian Miller. And the wind, it's really howling tonight. It's not one of those soft winds. I think that can affect, and hopefully it can also help the Firebirds tonight.
When we got here to the ballpark today, I came around 4 o'clock, the wind was howling in, and now it's since changed a little bit of direction. As we know, the wind here can change up a little bit just because there's 3 bodies of water in Orleans. You got the Bay, the Cove, and then the Atlantic Ocean. So winds can come from all around, can change the complexion of this ballpark as Matt Winokur steps up and lines one straight back. And I warned our track man, Mike DeWolf, that was going to happen, but it just missed him. It literally just missed him. Luckily, he has a cardboard box to protect his laptop. I guess that's going to work. 0-1 to Winokur. He shows bunt, gets it down right in front of Riley Adams. That's going to be a fair ball, and Adams will just have to throw to first. Bad decision by Winokur to get that bunt down, and it was just put right in front of Adams.
Outstanding play by Adams. That ball didn't even touch his glove. He barehanded it with his right hand, fired up to first, and made a pretty difficult play look really easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, for one of the best defensive catchers in this league, Adams makes a lot of things look easy. Well, he's a guy that you'll see in next year's draft, no doubt about it. Now 2 outs in the inning. Here's Tyler Houston. Tyler takes high in the first pitch. Houston had an interesting year. Tyler came in with the Bourne Braves. originally and was cut 2 weeks into the season, but he won the championship last year at the YD Red Sox as pitched him an off-speed pitch, fouled off. Ended up coming over to YD last year from Butler late in the season, just as a late addition for Scott Pickler. Won the championship. Pickler liked him so much, he invited him back after Bourne cut him. And since then, Tyler was named an All-Star this year and finished the year at .292 with a homer and 15 RBIs. Fouled off by Houston again, but Tyler Houston is the first Butler Bulldog to ever be named to the Cape Cod League All-Star game. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool that you have the chance to watch him here on the Cape
Yeah,
and back
awesome.
at school.
Well, yeah, it'll be an interesting year in the Big East next year, and he's sure picking up a lot of pointers and advice. 1-2. Pitch from O'Reilly. Grounded softly to the shortstop Jones. He charges. Will toss up the speedy Houston at first for the third out of the inning. So the home run by Will Toffee ties this thing up at 1. We're done with 1.5. To the bottom of the second we go. You're listening to Firebirds Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
No way. How you doing? Yes, sir. Well, I'm a senior in college, and I just came out here trying to be a professional and go get a job next year.
Is this covered on the local radio station?
We're online, just yeah. So anybody can tune in. It's pretty cool. But yes. A lot of fun though.
Bottom of the second here in Orleans is my broadcast partner Logan's having a snack. Gotta, get energy during this game. We're in for a big one as we're tied at 1. Birds get one in the bottom of the first, and then YD strikes back with a Will Toffee home run. 1-1. So leading off for the Birds is Justin Jones, and we'll see Keegan McGovern and Will Golson. First pitch to Jones is fouled right back. 0-1. But based off what we've seen through an inning and a half, Logan, it's we're gonna have a shootout today. What it seems.
Absolutely. The Birds just need to keep getting guys on, and they got to keep moving them over.
0-1 on Jones. Pitch at the shins. Ball 1 on a fastball from Janzik. Justin Jones was 1 for 4 last night. Played a very good shortstop position, though. Has already seen a lot of action today. 1-1 inside on Jones. Almost clipped his jersey or belt, but ended up did not. 2-1.
So Jones, if you include yesterday's game, he's on a 12-game hitting streak dating back to the regular season.
Guy that's been underrated all year. And his second year with the Birds. 2-1. Sliders outside. And Jones in his second year, he was on that magical team last year that featured Kyle Lewis and Eric Lauer. But ended up losing to YD, and Jones does not want to lose to Scott Pickler and company this year, so he'll take ball 4. First leadoff man is on for the Birds with no outs.
I said this a lot yesterday. The Birds are going to take a base runner any way possible, whether it's a hit, a drop third strike, a hit by pitch, and an error. Any way possible, the Birds just need to get guys on base, and they need run producers to drive them home. And speaking of a run producer, here's a dangerous bat in Keegan McGovern.
McGovern, who's seeing his first playoff action this year, sat yesterday against the lefty, as you'll usually see that. Keegan will usually face righties as he's showing bunt, and he'll foul it off. Actually, no, that hit him. Got the wrist of Keegan McGovern, and Logan, like you just said, take base runners anyway, and now it's Will Golson, one of your most dangerous hitters the past week.
I was going to say, hey, Keegan I saw him laying down bunts in early work, so maybe, he was going to get one down there, but he takes the base on the first offering, and now Scott Pickler is out of the dugout.
Nobody is up in the YD bullpen, but we did see Scott come out a couple times yesterday to stall and kill time. until home plate umpire came up. We'll see how long Joseph Carrico gives him out there. Now Benny Craig will call over Justin Jones at third base. Don't know if he's giving him advice or they're just talking about whatever Benny talks about. Hannah talked to him before the ball game. And we said it a couple times, but it's all about staying aggressive for Benny Craig and his club today. And Hannah asked, what is going to be one thing that you want your players to take away going to college next year? And he said you just want them to keep the vision they have. You want them to swing at strikes, know the pitch is coming, and have the vision at the plate that can take you to the major leagues. And that's something that's very underrated. You look at draft guys, you look at their power, you look at their fielding, but do you look at their eye at the plate? Not so much. Now it's Will Golson. Spin throw, it gets past the shortstop, Kevin Smith, and Justin Jones is not going to try to advance to third as the shortstop, Kevin Smith, was playing in Jones' pocket. And Janczyk, who threw the ball over his glove, Janczyk fell over on the mound, and he might be a little shaken up. Here comes Scott Pickler and the YD trainer to check on Janczyk. And reminder, nobody's up in the bullpen right now. I'll just try and reload it. Janczyk working with his glove on the mound. Looks like he's going to throw a couple practice pitches just to make sure Scott Pickler knows he's okay. And so he'll throw a couple fastballs in. And Pickler will leave after one pitch. That's all it's going to take. So Janczyk's okay, luckily, as he took a hard fall after he tried to pick off Justin Jones at second. But still, Will Golson's at the plate and a fresh at-bat. No count. Golson, who got the game-winning hit against Chatham on August 3rd. Actually drove in all 4 runs, but probably the most important one coming in the 8th inning where he drove in Zach Kirtley on a RBI double. 1-1. Janczyk from the stretch. Now Golson showing bunt. Again, it's thrown into center. Janczyk, twice in a row, has thrown the ball into center field on a pickoff attempt.
This is like classic YD. It's not the first time we've seen this from a Yarmouth Dennis pitcher. I remember Brian Sammons at Red Wilson Field. He turned around and threw to an empty bag. No one was covering. So I think the YD Red Sox might have to work on their pickoff attempts in the coming days.
Yeah, we've seen this from a lot of YD pitchers. Really interesting.
But for their sake, didn't hurt him.
Golson shows bunt again, gets it down, but it's going to be foul. As home plate umpire Joseph Carrico definitely wanted everybody to know that, as probably the most expressive bunt foul ball call I've ever seen. But now 0-1 on Golson. We'll see if the bunt's still in play. Golson, your 9-hitter today for the Orleans Firebirds.
There's a big hole on the left side of the infield.
There is. 0-1. Golson showing bunt again. Bunt straight through it. As the infield was coming in, you got to think that the bunt's going to be off.
I think they're nixing that plan right now, especially with Will Golson, a guy who's a good run producer at the plate. You might as well let him swing the bat. Why would you even attempt to bunt with 2 strikes and even consider flirting with the attempt of striking out in that fashion?
On deck is Brian Miller, top of the lineup, and 0-2 on Will Golson. Tough spot for Janczyk. He throws. Off-speed pitch down low and outside.
Still no action in the YD bullpen. It's been a rough start to the inning for Janczyk. Walked Justin Jones and hit Keegan McGovern on the first pitch.
Still, though, it's 1-1 because of Will Toffee's solo home run. 1-2 to Golson. He's still showing bunt. He bunts foul. Strike 3.
That's just a bad move. I don't know if Will Golson was listening to his coaching staff on that attempt. I mean, I don't think that Will would be doing that himself, bunting with 2 strikes. I mean, that's just, it doesn't seem logical, so that might have been a sign that was called, but just not the right move in that situation. It would have been nice if he got it down for a sacrifice, but when you have a guy at the plate who's been so productive as of late, why take the bat out of his hands, especially with 2 strikes? And then that situation, you knew that it was likely to happen.
Well, here's a guy that can get a bunt down for sure, and Brian Miller. Brian grounded to the pitcher in his first at-bat, and he shows bunt, pulls back, strike 1.
I mean, it's nice. At least Brian Miller could bunt for a base hit, but, I mean, with the bunting here, you're going to try to move him over with 2 outs because the Firebirds have not been all too great at driving in runs with 2 outs.
Ethan Paul's on deck. Jones at second, McGovern at first. Your leadoff man at the plate, and Brian Miller. Pitch from Janzik. Slider stays low, 2-1.
That pitch just missed off the plate for ball 1. It looked like it might have had a little backdoor action to catch the outside corner, but Miller taking all the way.
1-1. Pitch to Miller. He'll pop one up to left center. Going over is the center fielder Brown, and it's actually going to be Muno to field as that ball took a big turn in left center field. As the wind is definitely in play today, as we saw in Will Toffee's home run, but that's a fly out for Brian Miller to the left fielder.
And after the leadoff walk and then a hit by pitch to follow, the Birds 2 consecutive outs. So this is a tough spot for Ethan Paul, but you know, small ball is big, but at the same time, it looked like the Birds were too focused on moving the runners over, and right now, those 2 guys are in the same spot that they started on, and Ethan Paul will have to put one in the outfield to at least get a run home.
First pitch to Ethan Paul in the dirt, ball 1.
And it's great to see Ethan Paul back at the top of the order in the 2 spot. He batted 9th yesterday as that double leadoff guy. Got a hit. He's starting to look more comfortable at the plate like we're used to seeing Ethan, and just a really prime opportunity for the second baseman out of Vanderbilt.
Pitch to Ethan's inside, ball 2. Ethan Paul back at second base today. He was a DH yesterday. And back in the 2 hole as well. Pitch to Ethan's inside. Now 3-0. So Ethan's staying patient at the plate. And Janzik, who's had a tough time finding a strike zone today, is not really throwing strikes to Paul. He's keeping away from him.
You could see a green light here just because Benny Craig mentioned being aggressive, but with the way that Janzik's been throwing in this inning, he's not locating well at all.
We'll see. 3-0. Paul does not have the green lights. He takes a fastball right down the middle, strike 1. If Paul were to get on base or extend the inning, it'd be Riley Mahan on deck. Ethan Paul grounded to the shortstop Kevin Smith in his first at-bat. The Birds have batted around in the first 2 innings as well. And the pitch to Ethan Paul, grounded to the first baseman Skidmore. Will flip to Janzik for the 3rd out of the inning. So the Birds get the leadoff walk to Jones, and then a hit by pitch from Keegan McGovern, but cannot drive either home. It's 1-1 after 2. You're listening to Firebirds Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.
Cape Cod Healthcare is the leading provider of healthcare services for residents and visitors of Cape Cod, with 2 acute care hospitals and more than 450 physicians. For more information, please visit CapeCodHealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, expert physicians, quality hospitals, superior care.
Thank you, Logan. Hopefully that's not the last time this year we have to read that. It's elimination game, game 2, in the CCBL East Division semifinals between the Orleans Firebirds and the YD Red Sox. Birds must win this game to extend this series to a game 3 in South Yarmouth tomorrow afternoon. It's 1-1 in the top of the third. John O'Reilly on the mound for the Birds, and he'll face Nolan Brown to lead off the inning. It's 0-1, and Brown rips one to left center. Coming in is Miller, and he's not going to make the catch. That's a base hit for Brown, and YD's second of the day.
I talked to Kelly Nicholson, Firebirds manager, before the ball game, and I said, what is one thing that the Birds need to do today to win this ball game? And he says, hit with runners in scoring position. And that's what happens when you have a team like YD that, after the Birds failed to score some runs, they're right back at it with a base hit. We saw Will Toffee lead off last inning with a home run, and the Firebirds have left 4 runners on base in the first 2 innings. That is a number that needs to come down. They need to be more efficient on offense because YD is not going to give you any breaks when they're up to bat.
Now here's Joey Thomas as O'Reilly will check on Brown at first base. Nolan Brown, a familiar name here at Aldridge Park because he homered off of Brandon Belak to put game out of reach here at Eldridge, and Nolan Brown at the time didn't have any home runs. He's grounding it to second. Paul to Jones to Golson, a double play. 4-6-3, and that's one way to get them off of the base pass. Well done by the Orleans Firebirds.
The Orleans Firebirds are a much better defensive team when Ethan Paul is out there at second base. Made a nice play on that hop. A little sidearm flick to Justin Jones. They made a tailor-made double play. It looked very simple, but Ethan Paul, gotta love what he brings to the table offensively, and in the field, he is just smooth.
Now we're back to the top of the lineup, and here's J.J. Muno. Muno out of UC Santa Barbara. First pitch to him is high and outside from John O'Reilly. So O'Reilly's been pretty clean tonight, minus the home run from Will Toffee. But again, that was crushed by Toffee, and no doubter. To right center field to the bandstand. 1-0. Pitch to Muno's right in there on a changeup. 1-1.
Muno electing not to wear the batting gloves. Don't see that too often nowadays.
See it a lot in the CCBL. For some reason. A lot of guys like it. 1-1. Curveball. A half swing by Muno. Didn't mean to do that. Is grounded to the third baseman bench. He'll throw a strike to Will Golson at first base for a third out of the inning. So YD goes quietly other than the Nolan Brown single. But a 4-6-3 double play and a 5-3 putout is what got YD done for the top of the third. To the bottom of the third we go. You're listening to Firebirds Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Welcome back to 103-year-old Eldridge Park. I'm Brennan King, joined alongside Logan Raddick and Hannah Hartman, as always, your broadcasters for the 2016 summer. An honor to be with you all summer, and thank you for tuning in. Tonight on live stream, glad to be with you for another edition of Fort Orleans Firebirds Baseball and a must-win. It's an elimination game, Game 2 of the Cape Cod Baseball League East Division semifinals. And it's a 1-1 game between the YD Red Sox and the Orleans Firebirds. Bottom of the third, will be Riley Mahan, Riley Adams, and Garrett Benj. That's what started the rally in the first inning where the Firebirds scored a run. And hoping to add on to that as they'll face Jared Janzik for the third inning.
And what was so impressive about that for the Firebirds is it was a 2-out rally. We haven't seen too many of those this season.
Sun is starting to set here at Eldridge and could have a good shot for a nice sunset. As the clouds are in, we see some different colors in the sky. As Mahan will hit another one foul, 0-2 on 2 consecutive foul balls on the Route 28. Mahan steps in again, righty-lefty matchup. And the pitch from Janczek is outside on the 0-2. Now 1-2. Riley Adams is on deck. Birds just need to add on to what they already have. One run on 3 hits. And has what has been a good pitching performance from their starter, John O'Reilly. Pitch, Mahan grounds to the second baseman. It's bobbled by Persinger. He'll throw to first just in time to get Riley Mahan. Mahan hustling down the first base line, but Persinger bobbled, but got himself together in just enough time to get Riley.
Persinger, a good enough player and a good enough defender to not overreact on the bobble. He stayed with it and made a nice throw over to first in time for the out.
Probably much better than we were doing earlier on Eldridge. He took some grounders today, pop flies, some fungos. You, myself, Tommy Zinzarella, and Garrett Varon. It's pretty fun. First pitcher, Riley Adams, is down low. But it's awesome just coming out to the ballpark a little early. Nobody's here. And Kelly Nicholson's always in support of interns using the field or, having fun at Eldridge. It's awesome. 1-0. Down low again in the dirt. Adams not swinging at that.
I think we were all making a pitch before to be added to the roster. Now there's a couple of spots open, but I think this is the final look for the Firebirds.
Oh, it has to be. 2-0 inside. Now 3-0 on Adams. Janzik staying away from Riley Adams because one swing of the bat can open this ball game up and give either team the lead. We'll see if Adams has the green light. 3-0. Pitch is high. 4-pitch walk to Riley Adams with just 1 out. And it's Garrett Benj who has the RBI today for the Orleans Firebirds on a double that scored to Riley Mahan.
Riley just does a great job at working at bats and getting on base. And singled back in the first, works the walk here, and whenever Garrett Benj is at the plate, it's probably a good idea to have base runners on for him. He's just a tough out, and in the second to last game of the regular season, he went 4 for 5 with 2 doubles at Veterans Field in Chatham.
First pitch to Garrett Benj is outside. 5 consecutive balls from Jared Janzik. Just cannot find the strike zone right now. No action in the YD bullpen, nor is there action in the Orleans bullpen. Both starters staying out for now. Deep breath by Janzik. He's in the stretch, and the delivery. There's a strike on the outside corner. 1-1.
The wind blowing in here at Eldridge Park. We saw a home run by Will Toffey, so the fact that he was able to muscle that one out into the right center field bullpen through the wind just shows how well he hit that ball.
And just about saw one from Garrett Benj. Had a little bit more life to it. 1-1 from Janzik. Pounded into the glove of the third baseman. Toffey will go to second on the first. Not in time to get Garrett Benj, but nice play by Will Toffey at third. He had to work to his left on that high grounder. Then tossed to first to get Adams in time, but no chance to get Benj. So it's a 5-4 fielder's choice.
Great play there by Will Toffey, though. He had to work to his left into the hole between short and third, made the play, stayed with it to get the out at second. Would have been too tough to double up Benj, but they made it closer than I think most folks here at Eldridge Park thought it would be.
Now it's Adam Hazley. First pitch to number 26 is outside. Hazley, who they call the Rev, as the whole team does. Hazley big in his faith, and if you notice, before he comes up to bat, he draws a cross with his bat in the dirt. 1-0. Just low. Now 2-0 on Hazley. Bird staying patient against Janzik now, as this whole inning has had a hard time finding the strike zone. Janzik from the stretch, a deep breath, and the pitch high and outside. 3-0 on Hazley now. So Janzik, who went 3-0 against Riley Adams, then walked him with the next pitch, could be on the verge of doing the same again. Again, 2 outs. We saw the Birds have a 2-out rally in the first inning. Could we see the same again? Janzik checking his shoulder on Benj at first base and delivers to Hazley, who does not have the green light, takes a strike. 3-1, still a hitter's count. Would love to see the Birds open up this ball game now, as have a comfortable lead for John O'Reilly, something they have not had for any pitcher in this series. Pitch to Hazley, just at the knees on the curveball, as it's about as low as it'll get in the strike zone for Joseph Carrico. Now it goes full, and Garrett Benj will be on the move to second base on the pitch. Skidmore playing in his pocket at first base. Benj is ready to go on movement. There he goes. Pitch to Hazley, fouled back. Still 3-2.
Looking around at the guys doing donations tonight. It's usually an intern and a player. And what a pairing they have out there in left center field. Thomas Zinzarella and Joe Ryan. Very different characters, that's for sure.
Yeah, they could probably still mesh together and be a pretty good pair, though.
Oh, the two of them they could gel with anyone.
3-2 still to Hazley. Waits on a curveball and fouls one off. Yeah, that'd be interesting to talk to them both at once. Joe's a really easygoing guy, but
it's actually Chandler Day. But
that's still pretty good.
Joe Ryan's actually up on the right field.
Well, I'm sure Chandler and Tommy are having a good conversation because they golfed together
Definitely
the other day,
golf,
and
yeah.
a friendship was built apparently between the two because of golf. 3-2 on Hazley. Pitch, fastball, swing and a miss. Janzik wins the battle between himself and Hazley, and they strand Benj at first base. 1-1 through 3 innings. To the top of the 4th we go. You're listening to Firebirds Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network.